The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up loud. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on the radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080. Yeah!
Let's go, all you scallywags, nutmeggers, voters, patriots. Get on out there. What you doing in the house? Get in your car. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. And look, I was going to do the opening monologue to talk about the passing of the vice president. That, it will have to wait. It'll have to wait because I'm going to, when I talk about Dick Cheney, I want to do it in a way that is more about you than it is about me. I'll explain. Give it a minute. It is election day. And in Connecticut, there are elections everywhere. Fairfield County, Hartford County, Litchfield County, Middlesex County, New Haven County, big New Haven mayoral race between Orozco and Elliker. A lot of good stuff going on as far as elections are concerned. Most of us who are wonks on this are watching it intently. Every single race, paying attention to it, looking at it, dissecting it. Who's showing up? Left-handed lesbians who drive blue Subarus. What was the turnout? That's the way that we are. That's us. That's just not you. That's just us. And I get it. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do as sort of like this commentator and talk show. I want to know who's voting and why. And sometimes it seems silly to a lot of you. That's kind of the reason why I mock it. But to us, we love it. We just do. And I applaud all of you out there who endure our nonsense on a daily, if not yearly basis. I have a great time doing this job. But I want to say something to Republicans. And I remember when I first got here at WTIC, there was this very, sad trombone from The Price is Right. Bum, 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 about elections. Why bother? Why do we bother? And I wrote something down real quick. And I thought about it in a way that I think can be helpful. It's not advice, even though it's probably going to sound like it. What the hell? We'll call it advice. We have to lose to learn, not learn to lose. That's what this has got to be about in Connecticut. We have to be able to lose to learn, not learn to lose. That's what the whole analysis thing is about. That's why the rest of us who, a lot of people tell me, it's like, oh, good luck, Reese, trying to turn the state red. It's not so much about you being a Debbie Downer. I don't criticize you for that. You've dealt with this enough times to give up. And I understand it. It's not good. Don't get me wrong. I am never going to encourage or enable you to give up. If I have to keep pushing you to give yourself a sense of hope when it seems insurmountable, I'm going to still do it because the objective is to win. What kind of coach would I be? Yes, I consider myself one. What kind of coach would I be? I don't want to be here every day saying to you, shish, boom, bah, we're going to win. No, I told you when I got here I was going to get on the ground and I was going to run. I was going to do the things that I want you to do, is to get active. If you see me out there in the cold, holding your politicians to account, if you see me out there doing it, you might want to do it. You might say, what the hell, Reese ain't even from here. And you might be inspired to fight back. But the only way you can fight back is at the ballot box. So I am telling all of you, the day ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. If you haven't voted, go. If you're indifferent about voting because you sit up there going, what's it for? Go anyway. You gotta go. It's never going to change, and you're only going to be left to complain about it unless you go. But when you lose, you have to learn from it, not learn to lose. You have to learn from losing. You have to find out if the fact that all of you, if more of you got out there and you voted, and you see the numbers being different than what they were the last time around, you'll say, whoa, that's weird. You know, last time the Republican lost by 20%. This time when I went out and other people went out, it was only 5. Wow, there are more people out here who are seeing this for what it truly is. There are a lot more of us that aren't participating. Why sit idly by? Why learn to lose? Nothing changes if nothing changes. You've got to get off your butt, or you've got to get out of your own way and be a part of the change that you want. It starts with you. So I'm asking you, you've got 4 hours. Well, you got more than that. Some of you have even, just go. If you haven't, go. Wait online. If you can, please go. It's not so much about making a difference. It's knowing that you got skin in the game. When you see the numbers, when they come back, you'll look at them and you'll go, like me. How many blue-haired lesbians driving blue Subarus showed up? You'll find yourself interested in a way that you never were before. And again, it's not like you have to be out at every, city hall meeting. It's not like you have to show up at every rally. It's one thing. Go out and vote your values. That's how that works. That's the job that you have. That's the responsibility that you have. You can be mad at the results afterwards. It's good, and it's good to be upset about them. But I'm sure many of you have played sports before. I'm sure many of you have participated in some competitiveness in your life and have lost. And if you're a true competitor, you know what the loss felt like. You know how upsetting it was. How angry you got at times. And what you decided to do afterwards. Work harder. Learn more. Fix where your mistakes are. Make sure that you don't do them again. Or if you have a habit of making them, don't make them again. Losing to learn. That's what all of these elections are about. I'll never forget, man, 2016, I really, really was afraid. I kept saying to myself, there's no way this guy's going to win. It was insurmountable in my view. When Donald Trump won in 2016, I said to myself, wow, what do you do with that? I celebrated profusely, I will say that. But nonetheless, I didn't know what to do with that win because I was so used to losing. The Obama era, just everything about the Obama campaign from 2008 and 2012, even when it looked like Mitt Romney may have had a shot, and I couldn't even support that man. Losing both times, seeing Beyonce put out tweets mocking the people who lost, I was angry. But not angry enough to give up. I never got angry enough to give up. And I see you guys out there. I talk to you every day. People send me messages all the time. Reese, why would you come here? You could have just stayed there. You didn't have to come here and deal with this. I even hear it in people's voices when they talk to me. It's like, I wish I could leave, but I can't. They feel trapped. I've never felt that. I mean, I've been through some times, but I've never felt trapped. Once you get there, the despair hits and you are there. You never leave. Once you become trapped, you have to actually acclimate to being trapped. And then you become comfortable in your confinement. And then you accept everything that's a part of it. Don't be that person, that man, that woman, that child. I was joking with the boy when he came to visit us in Texas. And, I mean, we were going out to get ice cream or something like that. And we were laughing about, people who come from small towns and make it big. And, we were joking to each other or saying our own scenarios about how the story is always about the young kid who's an outcast in his own neighborhood. And he knows that everybody's lived there their entire life, but there's that one kid who says, I'm going to make it out of this podunk town. I'm going to make it big, and I'll show you. That's the way you got to look at Connecticut. Maybe, a lot of people tell me my naivete is going to get the best of me. That I come into Connecticut with this gung-ho spirit. We can change it. And people sit idly by, especially my seniors out there. They sit back and they look at that old young whippersnapper. Foolish he is. He'll learn. He'll put all of that energy in him, but give him a year. He'll lose that inspiration. Let me be the first to tell you, that's going nowhere. I'm 56. I still have the same energy I had when I was 25. I've still got that go-get-'em spirit. I don't believe in the status quo. I know you can fight City Hall. And I know that no man is above me. And no challenge is beneath me. I believe in fighting tooth and nail, and I believe that we can actually get something done in this state. Wouldn't you rather feel hopeful than hopeless? Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you like to get out of that malaise? Imagine how much sweeter life could be if you could just feel inspired to even want to change it. You could wake up every morning with a new, renewed spirit. I'm going to make it happen today. Well, today's your day. You don't have to get immediate results. Life never worked that fast. We talked yesterday with Courtney, and I heard a lot of you talk about how rewarding it is to go through the hard work every day, to make ends meet, to provide for your family, to get ahead, to save some money so you can go on vacation or buy the engagement ring or to go on the lavish trip around the world you always wanted. But the effort that you put in was always worth it in the end. I got to go to Europe. I got to go to Istanbul because I worked hard and I put in the long hours and I was rewarded. Well, you got to apply that to everything in your life. And today is election day, and that's what it's about. Losing to learn instead of learning to lose. If you haven't gotten out there to vote, please do. If you can hear my voice and you want to contribute to making a change, please go out and vote. That's yours. No one is taking it away from you. Go exercise it, man. That's your voice. Go find out exactly how much your voice played a role. Even if you lose, go find out what difference your voice made. Know that you had an impact. Your voice is like a 3-point shot in the finals. Sure, you only scored that 3, but boy, was it pretty. It made the highlight reel. That's the way you got to look at this. That's the way I do. Get out there. Please, and I know there are some people who already have, but those of you who know who I'm talking to, those of you who did not do it, who thought, should I bother? Yes, you should. Get it done. You gotta. It's not enough to complain anymore. People say that politics is the fabric of our life right now. Well, if you really believe that it is, go out there and show them. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Join the rest of us. It's one day and a couple of hours. I hope that worked. I can only hope. When we come back, I'll address the Cheney thing because I'm going to need your help. I'm a little confused about how I'm supposed to mourn the life of Dick Cheney. So, when we come back, we'll do that plus your phone calls. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration on how to play this role.
That was Christian Bale, you might remember, from the Golden Globes many years back when he played the screen version of Dick Cheney, the former vice president of the United States. And I'm going to need some help on this. And I saw someone in the chat room just said, just mourn his passing and move on. But he was a part of my everyday life as someone in radio. And I don't want to ignore, because I know someone's going to say, hey, you didn't mention anything about Dick Cheney today. As a talk show host, it's my job to. I can't ignore it. In some ways, I wish I could, but I can't. Because I'm a little convicted. I'm confused about how I'm supposed to address this. Let me put it this way. When I say confused, I know what I feel or what I think. Even better, because it doesn't matter what I feel. I know what I think. And if I am going to express what I think, I have to be honest. But I feel like I might be unfair. So I'm just going to say it. If you have an issue with it, that's what the telephone number's here for. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Or you can join us in the chat room at reasonoradio.com. You can join us on all of the social media, from Facebook to X, if you want to critique what I'm thinking. So hear me out. During the Bush administration, there were so many people who demonized Dick Cheney. Many people believed that George W. Bush was too dumb to be the president of the United States with his C average in college, that Dick Cheney had to be the brains. Before the institution of Donald Trump into politics, Cheney was Trump. The most reviled individual in politics ever. He was called Darth Vader. I guess Hitler wasn't available at the time. But he was the most hated man in politics. He was a war criminal. Many of you wouldn't know the word or name Halliburton if not for Dick Cheney. I never had an opinion about the guy. I'll be honest with you, in my career, when people mentioned Dick Cheney, I ignored them because Dick Cheney was the vice president. I never saw him as an issue. But the hell if people didn't make him that. People in the news media, and I don't care who you are or where you are, Dick Cheney was on the tips of your lips and tongues throughout the entire 8 years of the Bush administration. Hell, you almost gave George W. Bush a pass because you pretty much said he's only acting on the behest of Dick Cheney. He's the real president, they told us. I don't remember a time in history where a vice president was that consequential. Maybe somebody else can tell me, with the exception of Andrew Johnson. I don't think there ever was. So I looked at Dick Cheney as a Republican, yes. The architect of the war on terror, sure. But I considered him loyal to George W. Bush. And that was the most of the opinion that I had of him. I never called him a war criminal. I never thought of him as some sort of figure that we had to demonize or to weaponize in any way. I don't believe he played a role in George W. Bush's reelection. I believe the war and terrorism did. The only time I cared about Dick Cheney as an individual, as a politician, as a Republican, was the way in which he went after Donald Trump. When he broke the cardinal rule of people running in the Democrat Party, the 11th commandment. The part about it that drove me crazy was that I could only equate it to the one thing that angers me every time. Is that when Republicans who have been demonized by the media capitulate to them and go after the media's favorite target to curry favor. And I don't know if that was Dick Cheney's MO for going after Donald Trump, but it never made sense that he voted for Kamala Harris. It never did, and it never will. I don't like Mitt Romney for that reason. I don't like any Republican who appears to curry favor and show up on MSNBC when it is beneficial to them. And it's, as many people say, it's like, well, so Reese, you think it's politics over, party over politics or party over integrity? What was Dick Cheney's reasons for going after Donald Trump? What? Because of Donald Trump's criticism of the Iraq war? Who didn't criticize Dick Cheney over the Iraq war, or George W. Bush for that matter? Who didn't? Donald Trump is more aligned with the mainstream news media as it pertains to the Iraq war than anybody. He thought it was a foolish war. Why? Because we didn't take any of the oil. Oh, and by the way, does anybody remember when Donald Trump said that we lost blood and treasure in the Iraq war because we didn't take the oil? But I remember quite vividly in 2004, people protesting outside of Madison Square Garden, because I do believe that the Republican convention was in New York, where protesters were screaming, no blood for oil. Many people told us that that was the reason we went to war in Iraq in the first place, was for oil. And Donald Trump comes along many moons later saying that when we went to the Iraq war, we cost more than we got. Nobody mentioned it. But Dick Cheney criticizing Donald Trump. Remember the war criminal Dick Cheney, left stream media? The war criminal, Darth Vader, Christian Bale, Satan himself, as soon as he started criticizing Trump, all was forgiven with Dick Cheney. All was forgiven. Debbie Dingell was on MSNBC. Can't believe that I'm actually agreeing with Dick Cheney. The January 6th memorial. Who was there with Liz Cheney? None other than Dick Cheney. He was one of the only Republicans who showed up there. I'm sorry, folks. I am not in a position to say that Dick Cheney died as he lived. I can't. It's the same way I feel about Mitt Romney. They went after Mitt Romney. They criticized Mitt Romney. They pulled everything. They pulled every stunt to ridicule that man and his family. They disrespected his grandchildren, for crying out loud. His family adopts a black child and they mock him on MSNBC for it, with a little bit called "One of These Things Is Not Like the Other," because they adopted a black child. And it was a black host on MSNBC who made fun of him, a woman who was promoting abortions in the black community. Mitt Romney adopts a black baby and puts it in a wealthy family, and this black woman mocked him. And what did he do after all of that? After all of those embarrassing and demeaning things they did to him, he joined them, as did Dick Cheney, as did Liz Cheney. These were people back in the days we used to consider strong, conservative Republicans. How does Dick Cheney leave us? Has Dick Cheney died, in your views, as the elder statesman of the Republican Party today? Is that the legacy he left? I personally don't believe so. So when I heard of his passing this morning, I felt indifferent. I didn't know how to react. I knew I had to say something. It's huge news. Politically, he is a giant. But I kind of feel like he went out with a whimper. That's just me. The number's 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I don't even understand this question or this statement, but someone asked, do I think Charlie Kirk did more than Dick Cheney? I didn't even mention Charlie. You can't, that's such a straw man question. Do you think Charlie Kirk did more for Dick Cheney? No. Charlie Kirk was 31 years old. Dick Cheney died at 84. It's a ridiculous question. And why even bring up Charlie Kirk? No one ever compared them. Whoever would? I think the two of them, Charlie Kirk was no politician at all. He was elected to no office at all. Charlie Kirk had a role. Dick Cheney had a role. Dick Cheney was a public servant. Charlie Kirk started TPUSA. Maybe I'm not understanding what the point is. I don't think one has to do with the other, but whatever. Anyway. Many people. Okay, first of all, many of you are too damn cruel. I don't know whether or not Cheney is going to be looking down on us or looking up at us. But those of you who are saying those mean things, stop it. Let me see. Rama says it would be something very basic like jealousy. Trump comes out of nowhere as an upstart and was more effective than any of the swamp rats. But who does he think he is mentally? And this is, I remember Rush talking about this, about where Donald Trump comes from, like who he is versus Washington elite. If you really look at these politicians, to them, it is the closest thing to royalty. Because they were, in essence, anointed by the people. Right? So there's that's the reason why they call the White House, stuff palace intrigue. Because you are elected by the people and you are, it changes its role. You are supposed to be their humble servant, but you become their subjects. And there is that royalty to it. So a guy like Donald Trump is a businessman. He is a worker bee. They are the anointed one. The fact that he can come in and have people, in their view, bow to him. Because you ever notice the way they talk about MAGA folks? Right? You're loyal to him. You do what he says. Whatever he says, you agree with. By the way, the thing that always annoys me about that is like, that's exactly what these guys did with Obama. Like, the guy could never do anything wrong. Obama talked about something, and that was more effective than actually doing things. Right? It's like, Barack Obama would come out and say, poverty is bad. And they go, see, he's talking about it. That's a good president. Donald Trump actually tries to do something about poverty. What's he doing? Why is he trying to do that? Remember Leroy yesterday? Right? He would complain every day that the government's responsible for flooding the communities with drugs. Donald Trump kills drug dealers on a boat coming in from Venezuela. Why is he doing that? I don't get it. I just don't get it. I was in a text exchange with my usual suspect, making the same ridiculous claims. Barack Obama last year told black men, you have to support Kamala Harris because she talks like you, she's from your neighborhood, she's just like you. And then goes on the stump this year with an actual black woman from Jamaica. And he stumps for the white blonde woman and thinks nobody would notice. It's actually kind of funny. Ridiculous, but funny. I have a little bit of time. Let's take Joe in Chester. Hello, Joe.
Hi, I just think you're the greatest. I still remember how you analyzed the Bud Light and the Chick-fil-A so perfectly. I have such a quick comment.
Yeah.
The most unifying thing at all you can do, which the Democrats are doing, is for us, that's the most unifying message of all.
Wait a minute, hold on, Joe. You got, for some odd reason, you faded out exactly at the point where you were making. You said the one thing they could do is what?
The most unifying thing they can do is tell us all who to hate. That's their message.
Yeah.
And by the way, Reese, I want to know how that worked out on Good Friday. Did that have a good ending on Good Friday for that? As a Christian, I kind of wonder what that happened to our Savior on that day. But anyway, I digress. And I also want to say to people like Senator Blumenthal, hate always destroys the person carrying it.
That's right. Always does, sir. But you know what? I think, somebody asked me about Blumenthal today. I'm actually going to give my answer in a little bit. Thank you so much, sir. Somebody asked me, after meeting Dick Blumenthal, what did you think of him? I have an interesting take on him. I do. And I've been thinking about it for a little while, in listening to his speeches and his press conferences and then having spoken to him. I have an interesting take on Dick Blumenthal. And I think you'll like it. By the way, when we come back, we got headlines to talk about. One of the headlines is a story no one's talking about, and I find it odd. Something else that liberals care about is being pushed to the wayside. And on Halloween, there may be evidence of it. We'll talk about that. Let's get to the newsroom. John Silva is on deck. Right after this, it's Reese on the radio on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, let's get to some headlines. I am stunned that no one has asked whatever happened to the plot in Dearborn, Michigan. Did we all forget? Under normal circumstances, a terrorist plot to go after Americans that involved Muslims inspired by ISIS would lead every headline. What's even crazier is that a terrorist plot on Halloween by Muslim extremists inspired by ISIS to kill people in the LGBTQIA plus community is nowhere. Don't you find that odd? No one, and I mean no one, is covering it outside of online news media. This is a terrorist plot against what many would call a protected community. But come on, you know why. Because the people who planned the attack on the protected community happen to be a part of a protected community. Yeah, that's right. Muslim extremists inspired by ISIS to kill gay folks in Dearborn, Michigan. Nowhere. It's stunning. I know it is. I know you're saying to yourself, yeah, really? Yes. But it's nowhere. Also, speaking, no, I won't say that. Maybe we'll get into more. I'll tell you the details about this thing later. This story blew my mind because it's crazy, and in some ways, it's kind of elitist. Greenwich County's day school last weekend, they had so many people from New York City show up to an auditorium about entering that school. The group that showed up was so large, they had to open another auditorium to simulcast the event. And people are now calling this Mamdani flight. This comes from the school, and this Greenwich Day School had alumni like the aforementioned President George H.W., well, it's H.W. Bush, former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, tech bros Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, Bryce Dallas Howard, the daughter of Ron Howard, and WWE scion Stephanie McMahon. Also, NBA star Donovan Mitchell, who donated $12 million to the school back in 2020. They're saying that all of these people are trying to get into this school in Greenwich because of the very inevitable election of Zohran Mamdani in New York City. They're not bringing their businesses to Connecticut, but they wish to move to get away from it. To get away from New York, that is. So the Post has been talking to real estate brokers. We talked about this story a couple of months ago, that real estate brokers are saying they're getting more and more people on the high end who are looking for homes in Greenwich and Darien and other places, so they can move north to get the hell out of New York City because they anticipate they're going to be taxed Zohran says 2%. I expect more than that. Even though Kathy Hochul says she's not going to, but I think that more and more New Yorkers are concerned because she capitulated to Zohran and endorsed him when she was usually pretty, reticent to give that endorsement. And now that she has, I think she sees the writing on the wall that her political future may be on the chopping block if she does not endorse him because other progressives may sit it out when she decides to run. University of Connecticut is putting a required course on anti-black racism on hold for undergrads instead forming a task force to explore safer options. In simple terms, back in 2020, after the Black Lives Matter protests, students pushed UConn to teach about systemic racism and black resilience. But in 2023, it became mandatory for you to learn that class in order to graduate. But now, since the Trump administration has taken hold, they say that, with the memo that they put out that said that if they don't like it, that they would actually penalize the college for doing so. So now they're putting it on hold. So you may not have to take an anti-racism or black racism class in order to graduate. So that's actually pretty good news. And now for the stupidest thing I read today. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why it's so low. For some odd reason, it is really low. It shouldn't be that low. I think somebody was messing around with my machine here. That's what I think happened. Let me see if I can. Yeah, somebody was messing with that. I think somebody was really messing with that. That was weird. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. I thought so. Anyway, stupidest thing I read today. I don't go to this restaurant anymore. Not that I have anything against it, but I'm a little concerned. Going the way of Cracker Barrel, Hooters is deciding to make a change. Did you hear about this, Roland? Do you even go to Hooters? When's the last time you've been to Hooters?
Probably like a decade ago.
Damn, has it been that long?
Yeah, I tried them one time because I thought, it was everybody talk about how good the food
right?
is.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that same,
You didn't have the same experience?
No, I did not.
I've got my critiques. I'll share them later. But you remember the big Cracker Barrel debacle, right?
Yeah.
Remember they were going to change the whole thing up? Well, it looks like the Florida businessman who created Hooters more than 4 decades ago, he's taking back full control of the chain. He's planning on restoring it back to its 80s beach bar vibe to replace the current revealing waitress outfits. In essence, he says, we're no longer going to have butts sticking out of their uniforms, he said. That was his exact quote.
Wow.
So he says that he's going to make sure that the outfits of the women are going to be modest instead of sexualized. I guess his words, not mine. So he's going to sort of tone it down. There used to be a time, I didn't know this because I didn't go to Hooters back in the days. But apparently the waitresses used to wear boxer shorts and not the jogger shorts. So like biker shorts come all the way down to part of the thigh.
Yeah.
And now they wear sort of the short high cut with a little bit of the rear end sort of popping out.
Trying to get the extra tips and whatnot. I believe they closed. There's still one Hooters here, but I believe they closed the other one down.
They have closed a lot of them. But the reason why I'm calling it the stupidest thing is, look, you're already teetering on bankruptcy, right? If you're going to do anything, it's obviously not the waitresses. I do have a couple of ideas, though. I don't know if you've experienced this, but this has been my experience, Roland. And I got to be honest with you. It drives me crazy, okay? You got to let the pregnant waitresses stay home. You got to do it.
They got to make a living.
I know.
A living, man.
I know. But the attire doesn't fit. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. Ladies, I know I'm going to get crap for this. If you worked at a Hooters and you know a girl who works there and she is expecting, this isn't about you being pregnant. God bless you. You know what? You are creating another taxpayer for me when I get old. I love it. I get my Social Security. But ladies, come on. Let's be honest here. Fellas, too. If you've been every Hooters I've ever been in my entire life, and I didn't go to a lot, but every one I've ever been in, there is always a girl that is pregnant there. And it's not the look. It's just not a look.
But let me ask you something.
Okay.
When the conception of Hooters was created for the restaurant.
Yeah.
It was based upon owls, correct?
I would assume so, yes. Hooters is, a euphemism for breasts.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah. I understand that part. But when they made the name of the restaurant, were they doing it because of that? or did Al Bundy have something to do with that?
I don't think so. I really do believe that Hooters was supposed to sort of give a cheerleader vibe.
Okay.
Right? Like you go there and like the girl that you see.
Also hooting and hollering now.
Yeah. So yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's like, it was sort of a cheerleader vibe, pretty girls showing up. You know, it really is supposed to appeal to men, okay? Sophomoric, ogling men to see the pretty waitress come in and deliver the food, and it was to draw men, sometimes teenage boys, I'm not gonna lie, but, you know, fathers used to, as a rite of passage, to go out to Hooters, to watch a ball game, and to see pretty girls. It used to be okay for that. As long as the guy wasn't rude and disruptive, that used to be okay. But now, for some odd reason, it just became this. I don't know. It lost its purpose. As the kids say, it's missing the plot. Pretty girls serving you curly fries is a cool thing, and that's what the restaurant should establish itself. But then, again, I started to see things that I shouldn't see.
Yeah, but you can't think that every Hooters is going to have a restaurant full of pretty waitresses. It just doesn't work.
Why can't it?
Because, first of all, you got to be able to pay those pretty waitresses, and nowadays they don't want those. They don't want that job.
Okay, I understand that. That's true that a lot of them don't want their job, but somebody does. And not only that, if it's great tips. Because, look, this is going to sound so crass. I don't mean it to be. This is a family show. Listen to me. This is like going to a gentleman's club without all the salacious.
Oh, my God.
It is. I'm sorry. It just is. Come on. We're adults here. We have to tell the truth.
There are better wings at the gentleman's club. No offense to
okay.
Hooters.
But I'm just saying that that's what this place is supposed to represent. Pretty girls, hot food, and sports. That's what it is. It just is. And you have to be able to accept that without being some form of shame behind it. But for some odd reason, it got culturally corrupted into a whole bunch of other nonsense. And I'm telling you, the first thing that I noticed when I knew it was going downhill is that you're sitting at the bar, you're watching a game, you know, maybe on your lunch break, which you shouldn't be drinking, but even if you have an iced tea, you go in there, and then from behind the counter, I got a girl who's like 8 months pregnant serving me beer. Buzzkill! It just can't, nothing against the pregnant woman. And I know it sounds, I'm praying that women do not find this offensive. I'm not trying to be. That's too late, right? I'm going to the phones. Bill, help me, bail me out. Am I in trouble here?
You're somewhat on the right track.
Okay.
My daughter was a manager of the area, Massachusetts and Connecticut, for Hooters.
Okay.
She left. And one of the things that she saw was they were definitely getting away from the wholesome cheerleader type of girl.
Okay.
Girls wanted to work there because you were the Hooters girl. You were pretty. Right. You were, that type of image.
Right.
Then they started, with the short shorts and the butt cheek hanging out.
Right.
They started allowing tattoos, which they never allowed.
Really?
Yeah, they totally went away from the
wholesome look.
Basic, yes, exactly.
Right, because you can have a pretty girl with the top. I understand the top is supposed to accentuate the Hooters aspect.
Right.
She doesn't have to have the butt cheeks out. I agree with you there. But the pretty girl next door serving you hot wings while you watch the game, or a beer or a cold beer, that couldn't be wholesome. But you're right. Allowing the tattoos takes something away from it. It misses the all-American part of it.
Yeah, they trashed it up, and she was like,
wings? Like, how can that go wrong?
Exactly. So that's just a perfect, we're gonna let this slide, we're gonna let that slide, and next thing you know, you got a mess.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's what happened.
Permissive
and then those
destruction.
pretty girls, then the pretty girls don't want to work there because you trashed it up.
Yeah, you know what? Because then there's that level of like that becomes like jealous and envy, right? Because imagine you have
right.
I don't mean this to be bad. I mean mean, ladies, but you have like a real pretty girl who's probably dominating the tips. Everybody wants to work their tables, and then you got the girl who's got the tattoo and the blue hair that no one wants to sit at her table, and one girl's dominating the tips, and it makes for a hostile work environment.
Exactly true. Because I'll tell you what, they made killer tips.
Exactly,
I'm talking crazy tips.
That's right. See, I knew I wasn't. Maybe. Thank you. I appreciate you, Bill.
All right. You got it, Reese.
Thank you, man. Let's go to Mike real quick. Hello, sir.
Hey, Reese.
What's up?
So, do you remember that cartoon character, Baby Huey?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like that. That's what I imagine a pregnant Hooters girl would look like.
I've seen, now, don't get me wrong. Here's the crazy part, right? Imagine you see the girl working behind the bar, and the reason why she's working behind the bar is because they don't want her out on the floor because she's going to be on her feet a lot, and the bar is a very, small area that she can only go back and forth. So she's not actually working the floor, which is much more arduous on a waitress's feet, as an employee. But behind the bar, you see her come out there, and she's pretty, and beautiful young lady. I mean, it's obvious that, it's unheard of that she wouldn't be pregnant. It's just not the right atmosphere. I'm sorry I said where she belongs. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. When I see that, I go, that young lady would be perfect at a Bed Bath & Beyond. That woman would be perfect as somebody who was working at a place where, babies are us, not at a Hooters. It just completely defeats the purpose. It just does.
Yeah, and I wouldn't tip Baby Huey. The manager is failing right there.
Exactly, and I know why he's doing it. I know exactly why he's doing it because, one, she's probably worked there for a long time. He's probably, someone said, he's probably the one who got her pregnant. That's not the point.
hey, you never know. You never know. Just like in racing, my pull-out game isn't that strong.
Get out of here. I've got 1 minute to get to Wendy. What do you got, Wendy?
Listen, this is
Go ahead.
What is wrong with tattoos and girls with tattoos?
It's not anything wrong with girls and tattoos. It's about girls with tattoos at Hooters or working in a restaurant. That's all it is. I'm saying that there are some places, like if you have tattoos and you work at a Spencer's, that's fine. Okay?
But Hooters, that's the whole point of Hooters. Is
yeah, but
you're going to go to look at girls that are hot with big tatas, and tattoos makes it even more hotter.
A lot of guys don't like tattoos. I'm not going to lie. It took me a long time to get used to tattoos, and I'm telling you.
Maybe y'all not seeing the right girls with tattoos, then.
This is true. Some girls have tattoos in the weirdest of places and the weirdest of things. So that's all I'm saying. I got to take a break. Wendy, I'm not saying that tattoos aren't attractive. I'm just saying at a place like Hooters, sometimes it's a lot of tattoos. Like a girl with a sleeve of tattoos at Hooters is a bit much because then I've got reading material.
That's a good conversation starter. That's a good way to start a conversation.
Yeah, if that was the appropriate place. To be honest with you, I just want chicken wings and Hooters. That's it. I mean,
if you want, then go to Buffalo Wow Wings if you want to.
Thanks, Wendy.
I love you, Reese.
I love you, too. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC News Talk 1080 is celebrating 100 years on the air.
Before I get into the next subject about the crazy story that happened in Hartford last night, which also pertains to the guests we're going to have on tomorrow, let me go to David, who's calling from Vernon. I didn't want to miss an opportunity. David, how are you?
I'm doing well, Reese. Thanks.
No problem.
Hey, real quickly, when Hooters first became an entity, if you will, back in the 80s,
yeah,
you weren't allowed to have tattoos.
See, yes, that's what, and I was trying to explain that to Wendy, but I had such a short time. It's not even about whether or not you like tattoos or not. There's a degree of where, again, this is where you're going to get touchy. It was supposed to be about like a girl next door look in the restaurant. Pretty girls serving you chicken wings while you watch the game, and they had to look a certain way. But then when everything became permissible or discrimination, you had to sort of you could have a piercing anywhere then. Just anything was allowed, anything goes. And once you destroy the fabric of the thing that brought you there, that made you popular, people say, nope, if it's not going to be what you originally were, I gotta go.
Now, if you wanted to see tattoos, you had to go to the Tilted Kilt.
Yes, now, okay. I know the Tilted Kilt is the other one, but there's another one that's in Tampa, Florida, that was owned by a football player that was sort of like the ratchet sister of Hooters. The girls, someone's got to remember it. But when I was in Tampa, I actually went there, and I kind of got the impression, I was like, these girls look like the neglected sisters of Hooter girls, because they were all wearing black tops like the Hooter tops, that was kind of low cut, but they didn't have on the short orange shorts. They had on the short jean shorts that were cut with the sort of flails or whatever that is, the strings coming out of them. Like they looked like the ratty sort of angry sisters of Hooter girls. They were attractive, but they were allowed to wear piercings, to have tattoos. They wore black lipstick. It was a complete, departure. It meant like the Addams Family of Hooters.
I'm unfamiliar with that.
Yeah, I got to find out the name of it, but somebody's going to know. They've been to them before.
All right, take care.
Thank you, man. Let me get to, they were Daisy Dukes, but these things were a little rattier, Richard. The shorts were cut with scissors, and then you take a fork and you scrape them so that they can, it was, I don't know, they were just weird. They weren't like every other a pair of jeans, but they were short. They were short, and they were cut where, kind of like hold it. You know what? Somebody's on the line who's got to know who this is. Let me go to him real quick. Rudy is on the line. Rudy, do you know what I'm talking about? No, it's not Twin Peaks. Rudy, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Rudy, do you know the restaurant I'm talking about? It's owned by a former NFL football player. I'm
yeah,
almost certain.
I can't remember. It's not Twin Peaks. I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
But,
and he was a Dallas Cowboy, right?
Yeah, here's my theory on this.
Okay.
Why would you put a bumper sticker on a Ferrari?
Yes!
I cannot stand tattoos on women. I have dated beautiful, educated women, and they have a tattoo. When I was still in the Army, I dated an LPN.
Okay.
I was an LPN. And she won Miss Miller Lite Bikini Contest. She was 5'8", 130 pounds, D-cupped. She could have been in Penthouse or Playboy, anything she wanted.
Right.
And she got with those winnings, she got a parakeet tattooed across her chest with the tail curving through her cleavage and under around her left breast.
Why?
Above her heart. And I would not let her take her shirt off ever again. And we broke up. We broke up within 2 weeks.
What?
Tattoos are trash.
Oh, okay. You're gonna get a lot of hate mail for that. Listen,
I don't really care because, like I said, here's my theory.
Yeah.
Women are born as long as they stay in shape, and I'm not saying anyone's perfect,
right?
But if you have the curves, the little uniqueness to women, the little
I know exactly.
Stick out on their.
Rudy, let me say what you're trying to say. A woman already is a work of art.
Correct.
It's redundant to put a tattoo on her.
No, it's putting a bumper sticker on a Ferrari. It's stupid.
Well, I'm trying to articulate it delicately for you. Let me help.
No, but hey, the other thing, I just want a friendly reminder.
Yes, sir.
Because it's not looking good.
What's that looking
We have poisonous snails, crocodiles grabbing kids, alligators. We have pythons. We have bugs. You have to run your air conditioning year-round down here.
Yeah.
Please, if you're not a conservative when this clown wins New York City tonight, please move to Connecticut. I know part of New York because Frank lives in New York. He can hear this.
Yeah.
I know we just want conservatives.
Yeah.
But, Reese, we were just talking about this at work.
Yeah.
I have two beautiful women that come into my restaurant 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
One's a lawyer. She's 42, no tattoos. And she wants to get her first one because her daughter got one.
Oh.
And I'm like, you have a beautiful body. You're 5'7", 125 pounds, and you make $150,000 a year. Guys want you. They don't need to see that that tattoo would make me have to take Viagra. And the other one is 31 years old, and I swear to God she should be a model instead of a real estate agent. She is who was the owner of the Miami Sharks in Any Given Sunday?
Oh, Cameron Diaz?
The blonde actress. Yes. She looks like she could be Cameron Diaz's 30-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
And her husband has a sleeve, and he's an ex-Marine, and that's fine because that makes him look tougher.
Yeah.
But
not on a woman.
He wants to buy her a tattoo for her 31st birthday. I'm like, no. And he's looking at me, and he's like, I'm 6'2", he's 6'2", but he's like 240 in shape, and I'm like 230 not in shape. And I'm like, she's beautiful. What can you possibly add? What does a tattoo enhance? What do you mean my wife's beautiful? And she's like, honey, he's speaking the truth.
Yeah, he's complimenting me. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
why?
I know.
I won't even put a bumper sticker on an Outback Subaru Outback.
Look, I get what you're saying. I'm with you. I totally understand where you're coming from. Trust me, I know where you're coming from. But women, first of all, they're all in the chat room screaming at you right now. Just let you know that. But I hear you.
Because they're all insecure. They're like, look at me, I got a tattoo. They all have mental insecurity.
I'm trying to bail you out here. You won't let me.
You don't have to bail me out. I'm not wrong.
I got you. I knew that this was going to be a hairy conversation.
They want attention. They want attention, and it deflects from their deficiencies.
You know what? That may be true. That's why I'm going. I'll talk to you later. Bye. I gotta go. Wendy, you gotta stop calling that number. I'm not gonna pick it up again. Let me go to Lori. Hello, Lori. Lori, are you there? Oh, no, wait a minute. Hold on. I had that wrong. Hey, Lori, are you there?
Yes. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
What in the hell did I start?
I remember the days, I'm old enough that I remember the days the only people who had tattoos were military guys.
Right.
But, I can't stand them. I can't stand the way they
You don't like
women.
them?
I do not like them. And my brother actually told my 2 daughters in their 30s. Well, he told them when they were in their 20s.
Right.
He said, if you ever get a tattoo, I will cut you out of my will. Actually, one of them still did anyway because she doesn't need the money. Her husband are attorneys, and she's brilliant and gorgeous, and she's got it in a place where you can't see it when she's got clothes on.
Right.
I mean, if she had a bathing suit on, you could. But I don't understand the attraction of it. But 2 things. I've been reading recently that they're really bad for your lymphatic system. That
I've heard that.
Stays under the dermis, and there's actually some health risks to getting these tattoos that I don't think people are aware of.
Yes,
And,
I have heard that.
Yes. And the other thing I can't stand is when you look at people's bridal photo albums, and you've got this beautiful girl with an off the shoulder gorgeous gown, and then you see all these tattoos all over
and
her
it's
neck.
not the tattoos do not complement the beautiful dress. It's almost they contrast.
I mean, you look at the picture and your brain just goes tilt like this doesn't make sense, you know. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on the tattoos.
I totally appreciate you, dear. And thank you. I know that this is touchy, But thank you. Let me tell you something. I'm just gonna do it. I'm going to do it. My wife has tattoos. She convinced me to get one. All right. So I don't want to think that I'm coming from some hypocrite, like a point of view. I'm not. Wendy, stop calling. I'm not picking up the line. She's all defensive now. Listen to what I'm saying. Okay. Just hear me out. Ladies, I have no criticism of your tattoos. I don't. I used to look at them and go, oh, okay. It used to be kind of like, it used to be off-putting because I didn't understand the culture. And I do know that there's a culture of people getting tattoos. Rudy is only part right when he says that there's a degree of insecurity. If you're insecure, you know what he's talking about. If you're not and you love body art, don't worry about it. If it don't apply, let it fly. Wendy. It isn't about that. But there are some people, I'll go this far. There are some people who are less interesting than drying paint, who need something interesting for people to notice to make them interesting. Okay? There are those too. And I think that's what Rudy is trying to convey here. All right? When we come back, I guess we'll finish with this. And then I've got so much stuff to move on to because I've got a huge scandal going on in Hartford, Connecticut, in the trafficking realm. So I'm going to address that in a little bit. So stand by. More news, more views, and your phone calls. 860-522-WTIC. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I knew you guys would figure it out. The place that I was looking for is called Wing House. That's what it was in Tampa. Wing House is the name. And I don't know why, because I only went there once, but I thought it was odd, because as soon as I looked at the place, I went, this is like a darker version of Hooters. And I just went to their website, and sure enough, every one of the girls that are featured on its website, girls got shoulder tattoo, they're wearing black. It's like, black leotard tops. It doesn't appear these women are wearing jean shorts. They're all wearing, yes, very short shorts. With the rear ends popping out. So again, I'm just saying, I want Hooters to be Hooters. Just be what brought you here. Let's go to Louise. I'm only doing this because the ladies are calling in, and Rudy just went on a tear about tattoos. Hello, Louise.
Hi. Okay. Tattoos, no matter how beautiful the design is or what the message is. From a distance, it just looks dirty. And the more of them there are, the worse it is.
Okay.
The other thing is, fella before mentioned the celebrity. I had a celebrity. It was beautiful. I love driving it. I would not. What's wrong with a bumper sticker? That's where you should have a message. If the bumper sticker said, life begins at conception or pray to end abortion, I wouldn't be afraid of messing up a new car, even if it was a new car, which it wasn't. But anyway.
But no, you know what? You said the word that is so controversial, but the only reason why I want to address it is because before I became comfortable with seeing women with tattoos, that was kind of my view. It's like it seemed, because I associated them with biker chicks. And I know that's inappropriate today. Not all, it's not just one sect of people who have tattoos. Every facet of life walks around with a tattoo, be they discreet or in full view. But I think that you are on point there with some people view them as like associating them with uncleanliness.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Louise. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm not here to criticize them. Roseanne she has a tattoo that I'm not really fond of. She has another tattoo that's okay. She has one that I think is gorgeous. It's beautiful. When I think of her, I think of that tattoo, but I understand where people are coming from. I'm like Rudy. Rudy's a little more, I don't want to use the word crass. He's probably a little more blunt or blunt about it than I am. Because, I do believe that a woman is a work of art. It's like, why would I desecrate what I already believe is a beautiful work of art? It's like, graffiti on a bridge. I'm a big fan of bridges. Maybe I didn't do that well. Sometimes it just doesn't work. And Wendy is in the chat room mad about this. Wendy, I don't mean you. I haven't even seen your tattoos. It's not a personal thing. Some women do it very discreetly. Please, I need to go to my other segment. Thank you. Saved by the traffic report. Let's get to it. Mark Christopher's in the BPS traffic store. Mark, do you have any tattoos?
No.
Okay. Yeah, Mark, you don't seem like a tattoo guy.
No. You know what? Everything's going to get wrinkly. And it's going to start drooping. In fact, it already has.
Soon it's going to look like a Salvador Dali painting.
Exactly. So there's no sense at this point for me to get any tattoos.
I hear you, bud.
So it ain't going to look good on me, I can tell you that.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah. And a congratulations today goes to the person who I don't have their name in front of me real quick. And I had it. Benjamin A. in Burlington. He is the recipient of Between Rounds dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Vernon, and Manchester. We are working on a final deets on the in-house broadcast at Between Rounds. We don't know where it's going to be, but it's probably going to be Vernon, maybe even South Windsor, at least one of those two places. And we're working on trying to get that done really, really soon, where myself, Reese on the radio, will be broadcasting live. We'll have details for that real soon. Also, on the 22nd of November, this month, I'll actually be doing an event coming up real soon. I'll tell you about that in the coming weeks, so stand by for that. Coming up, we have some very, very crazy news from, what I'm referring to as Mark Walsh Reports. Mark from West Hartford has some details in a story that you may have heard on WFSB. We'll play that for you when we return. What FSB has reported about 7 men who have been arrested in trafficking. Mark Walsh will be here to give us some details that he was able to find out from an inside source on that story that isn't being reported. We'll get that to you in a moment, so stand by for that. And here's another check of your weather and traffic. Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. This story is somewhat disturbing, but then again, it should be. They say 7 or maybe 8 now men have been arrested in Hartford. What they were arrested for, the details are a little sketchy. But we do know, and we do have high authority, that this was an elaborate ring, and it should worry the mayor of Hartford. Aside from the fact that we have rats in the city, we now have something far worse.
A months-long investigation has come to an end. Hartford police say these 7 men, who are all said to be from Hartford, were arrested in connection with a human trafficking investigation. The investigation started in May, and Hartford police worked with the Regionalized Human Trafficking Recovery Task Force. The suspects are facing felony charges ranging from sexual assault to kidnapping.
No one, especially a child, should ever be subjected to such trauma.
Thomas says she's noticed a drastic increase in online trafficking, but there are some red flags parents should be on the lookout for. In May of 2025, the state's Regionalized Human Trafficking Recovery Task Force found the number of trafficking investigations in the state from 2022 to 2024 increased by 200%. A number Sheila Hare with the Connecticut Bar Association Committee on Human Trafficking says is actually low due to underreporting.
What we need to be working with are advocates on the ground at NGOs, at shelters, at churches, because that's, in my experience, the first folks that trafficking victims will approach, something they already trust.
So I've been looking into this story. It was forwarded to me today from City Hall Adam, and we started looking into it. I got in touch with Nadine Thomas, which was the first woman you heard featured there. She'll be on the program tomorrow at 4 o'clock. She's with Underground New England. She helps trafficking victims in around New England. They primarily work in the state of Connecticut, but they are growing and they are trying to help many trafficking victims in the New England area. Again, she'll be on tomorrow at 4 o'clock. We'll talk to her about this story and so much more that they're doing to help these folks out. While we were waiting to report on this story, because we got sidelined by tattoos, but that's okay, Mark in West Hartford, as you all know, Mark Walsh, called me up and said, hey, listen, I've got new details. So for this week's edition of Mark Walsh Reports, we have him on the line now. Mark, what's up, buddy?
So, well, you and I talked briefly, and you had brought up, I wonder what the demographics are.
Right. And primarily because when we're dealing with trafficking, it usually starts in one demographic and bleeds into American citizens because the trafficking is usually set. And it's not about being prejudiced. It's about where it happens because of how trafficking works. Because it comes from the southern border, it usually originates there. When we're dealing with trafficking today, it has something to do with some sort of cartel, some sort of illegal activity, some sort of illegal alien status. In this case, we were trying to find out who was either responsible or who the victims were. You have details.
Yeah, so the one thing WFSB probably unintentionally did because they didn't really break it down for us, if you saw Nadine said that they had 24 trafficking victims from 20 different communities
right,
related to this. But in the beginning of the story, they tell you that 3 of these underage girls were brought back safely to their families.
Right.
Now, my question was when I reached out to a source was like, well, wait a second. What about the other 21 that we know of now? So then we started talking about well, what is it? Is it both genders? Is it this and that? Well, right now, 11 of them, and it's hard because, these a lot of things are sealed.
Sure.
So the only thing we could find out was 11 that we know of had Hispanic names. Mm-hmm. Can I tell you for sure exactly where they were born? I can't. But I will say this, that 11 of them so far, and these are the only 11 that we know, looking into what the information was available to my source back to me, was that they were all of
Hispanic origins. So we know, and from what we can we can at least glean from that info. Because look, and folks, say what you want. You can say that we're over our skis on this one, but let's be honest, okay? Let's be truthful here. We have an established Puerto Rican community in Hartford, without a doubt. We have an established Hispanic community in Hartford. If we are to say that there's trafficking going on in established Puerto Rican communities, name a time when it was happening. Anyone? Anyone? You know it didn't. If it's trafficking in this regard, you know damn well those people, those individuals, those victims are usually, and in most cases, it never ever turns out that way, that these folks are natural-born citizens to the area or to the country. Without a doubt. Yep. Because, say what you want about, Mimi Torres is a perfect example as a counter to what I'm talking about here, right? You can say, well, what about Mimi? Well, Mimi's an isolated incident with a biological mother who neglected her child to the point that she did not feed her and zip-tied her to the floor in the basement of their apartment, right? She didn't traffic her 11-year-old daughter. According to her own testimony in the affidavit that we had, or the warrant that was unsealed, She had a child who was out on the streets. This is her words, the mother's words, not mine. She had a child who was out in the streets getting into trouble, being caught around or seen with boys, allegedly, her mother states. And to keep her, in her words, wild child from acting up, she kept her shackled in the basement, punishing her. She didn't have her out in the streets.
Nope.
So when we look at this trafficking thing, who do we know to be involved in trafficking in this regard, especially with that of children? We told you before, we said it again, and it always turns out to be what we said it was. Immigrant children being used and abused. Because again, as Justin Elker said on this program a year ago, we don't keep track of them because we don't ask and we don't tell.
Now, talking about demographics and me being me, and of course I threw something up on my ex account, go on Mark from West Hartford, and this always cracks me up. Like, it's so funny. Thanks to the media, I'm always in tune with race now. Probably I always was to some extent.
Right.
But not to where I am now. So I threw up on here, and no one will respond. I go, sure. Another case of racial disparity in Connecticut. Black human traffickers are being profiled, and Connecticut Dens and John Larson and Murphy and all the rest, they're silent. So imagine now, I saw that lineup there of the 6 guys, and they were obviously black males.
Yeah.
But look how stupid that sounds, right?
Right.
Because we're gonna play that game all day long. But nobody, believe me, nobody in Connecticut's media is gonna mention that. This story.
I'll go one step further. I'll go one step further. It wouldn't be far-fetched. I have to ask the question to anyone who's related to this in the police department. I'll put this on you. You don't have to give me any of the details, but let me just ask you a simple question. What's the likelihood that these 7, maybe 8 men, because I understand there was another arrest, what is the likelihood that these 7 black men were trafficking in their own black children? And we're talking about black kids in the community. And I'll tell you what, is the one thing that led me to the fact that I know that these are immigrant kids, Mark? You want to know why I knew it? Here's why. Because if they weren't, they'd have told us.
Oh, yeah.
They would have told us. They would have told us that there were mothers.
That I should tell you, I just looked down because I circled it. The average, the majority of them were around the age of 14. Why that came.
Now, remember,
they weren't all 14.
But let's take into consideration, if these were 14-year-old black kids who were involved in this trafficking ring, it would be everywhere. Do you understand that? We have black. Now, remember, the demonization of black men in this country when it comes to mothers and children. If these black men were involved in trafficking black kids, and you don't report that and you keep that, because again, how are parents supposed to keep their children safe? How are they supposed to? You're supposed to let people know. Everybody's talking about this is sealed, this is under wraps, that is it. I'm telling you, as a news guy and a person who follows this, especially how the police respond to this, this is something that you make available or aware to the public. Hey, watch your kids. Hey, these kids are runaways. If your kid is a runaway, if your kid's being despondent, this is what you need to do, especially if it's runaways within the black community, because you would associate just like you would on black crime, right? You got a black gangbanger shooting another black gangbanger. You would be able to say, okay, then that's obviously it's not racially motivated, it's gang related or it's drug related. This being under wraps about who the victims are, only it smells of immigration.
So being that we're in a blue state, I'm hoping just one liberal who would foo-foo the thought of, all these, when numbers come out of unaccounted immigrant, illegal, whatever you want to call them, children coming over the border, they're unaccounted for. Oh, come on. You really think so? You really think that? Well, now what? What do they say when they see this? Are they going like, well, we got to wait and see? Because here's the problem, and they just mentioned it today, my sources. Unfortunately, this case, as much as me and you are talking about it now, we're not going to be able to talk too much more. It's not like we're going to be able to get little snippets of details because of the ages and because of the sealing of documents.
Right.
Like, this will go on for – they had actually said it could go on for decades.
We have to be in – you know what? This is the thing. In order for us to get any details of this, we're going to have to be in the courtroom. That's what we're going to have to do.
Room, and the other thing is we got to get some. You know what? See something, say something. You're going to tell me these community leaders. I know I always pick on Cornell Lewis walking down the street. You know, they're walking down the street. They know where the drug dealer lives.
Right.
They know where the prostitute lives. And guess what? They know where these pimps live.
That's right.
'Cause that's what they are.
That's
They're
right.
Pimps.
That's right.
You don't think those people, and whether it was just in Hartford or Waterbury, because that's the other thing they were doing. They knew enough to, like, hey, move them around. What they were doing is rotating, is what I heard. They're going rotating to Bridgeport, New Haven.
When you have that many kids involved in this, and again, we don't even know the scope of how many children are involved. And again, by the way, I shouldn't even say that. We don't know the scope of how many individual victims are involved because they can range in areas from 14 to even some in their 20s. Because from what I understand in this ring and from what I heard from Nadine, they are adults as well as children who are trafficked in this case, because a lot of them have debts to pay.
Okay. And pimps, and don't forget, pimps didn't always use like underage kids. There were grown women that were under.
Exactly.
I mean, these are bad. Pimps are bad. I can't even tell you. Unfortunately, I was exposed to a couple of victims of pimps. They're pretty vicious.
Yeah.
I mean, vicious.
Yeah, and imagine.
Why do you think they do what they do for somebody else?
But that's what I'm saying.
can't
It's
prove-
like this is not, look, this particular band of individuals, right? If you're looking at this from the alleged crimes by these individuals, and I'm saying this on this level, if you have a trafficking ring that involves 14-year-olds, that in and of itself is heinous alone, no matter what the victims are, be they American citizens or not. But the question becomes your accessibility to that individual, right? Because if it's a runaway, that person has someone to locate to get out of Dodge. But if they don't, get my meaning? They don't, because that individual's family is living in another country. It's a completely different ballgame.
So let me ask you this. Will we see outrage within the different Hispanic communities across Connecticut over this?
No, I don't. To be honest with you,
how sad that is.
I know. That's why I said this case has got to be covered, because that's why I'm bringing Nadine on tomorrow, because the growing number of kids who are being trafficked like this is only happening because of the influx of illegals into the state and everywhere else. Because, again, these folks do not get in for free. They all come here with a marker. They just do. And people have to acknowledge that. They come here with a debt to pay in order to get into the country. And it is the new form of indentured servitude. And if it's not labor trafficking, it's sex trafficking.
Well, I can't wait for a visit, because I'll be honest with you. You know what? What do I know about this stuff? I know nothing.
We're learning as we go.
So maybe we're going to learn. We're going to learn as we go. But you know what? When you bring somebody in that's on the inside and knows I'm waiting to hear her shed some light on this, but you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna Nadia actually is her name. When she calls in, I'm gonna talk to her at length about this and get all the information I can. She's the executive director of Underground New England, and she has so many details that she wants to share, and she's really excited to be on. So we'll talk to her tomorrow.
For those of us that believe, say a little prayer.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks.
Hey man, thank you for breaking it. I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks, man. Mark Walsh. Of course, Mark in West Hartford. Make sure you follow him on X. You know his Aaron Stewart video is well over 250,000 views. It's gone officially viral when she was at that press conference a couple of weeks ago when Mimi Torres' body was found, and Aaron Stewart was looking a little confused, to say the least. Mark reposted it. It's already got 250,000 views. Go check him out. Mark in West Hartford on X. We'll come back. More news and more views than you can shake a stick at. When we can return, we'll talk about the Virginia races and the New Jersey race and Donald Trump and how he plays a role in that. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah, we are back. I forgot to take off that clip. Anyway, don't forget, go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. We got plenty of content there for you. Of course, we have the rebroadcast of the show. That's there, commercial free, other than, some other stuff that's on there. And if you help out, I'm going to build up the numbers on the Reese on the Radio site. So if you're bored and it's the weekend, you want to check it out. I know Matty O does in Bristol, from time to time. When he's out of the country, he goes there to the website to go check out the show. I actually like the fact that he does that. So you could do that too. And also go there to check out my Substack. A new one is there today. It's called Food Stamps or Freedom. That's the new Substack article I wrote today. It actually comes out on Sunday. Make sure you go to Substack on ReeseOnTheRadio.com to subscribe so you can get it directly into your mailbox every morning at about 7:30 on Sunday. It will show up there. And it's a thoughtful article. I'm thinking about you when I write it, and I try to keep it to the subjects that we talk about here on the program. When we come back, I'm asking the question, should Donald Trump have been on the stump for Winsome Sears and Frank Ciatarelli in New Jersey, like Barack Obama was on the stump for Abigail Spamberger and Mikie Sherill? And I have some thoughts as to why he didn't. Someone sent me a text message saying, did you notice that the president didn't support Winsome Sears, the Jamaican immigrant? Starters, she's not an immigrant. Her father and mother were immigrants into the country. And Winsome is, I guess by all intents and purposes, a black woman who Barack Obama did not support. He supported the blonde woman. And making this stupid argument that she's a Democrat, that's why he supported her, flies in the face of the nonsense that he was spewing about Kamala Harris during the presidential election. Right? You do understand that what you're establishing here is that it isn't always about race. If the whole thing about race is subjective, it isn't about race in the first place. Right? If Barack Obama is chastising black men for not supporting Kamala Harris, then Barack Obama should be chastised for not supporting Winsome Sears. It's not one or the other. It's not one in the same. It's hypocrisy. It's just simple as that. That's all. And just embrace it. Don't make excuses for it. We know the dude is phony. We know he's cheap. That's all. I mean, I don't care. I was never fascinated by Barack Obama ever. I don't know about you guys. I mean, you guys seem to be mesmerized by chocolate. Well, he's black. See black folks every day. What makes this guy so magical? I remember when people got mad at me about that. Just like, do you support that song, Barack the Magic Negro? I'm like, a black man wrote it. It's an LA Times article. The black man talking about Barack Obama called him the Magic Negro. That was them. Whatever. Let's get to check on those roads because, of course, Mark Christopher, oddly enough, on Election Day, Mark, it's busy out there in the BPS Traffic Center.
Oh, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I'm a little ashamed of myself because you can see my trash sitting behind me on the camera. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. That is me indulging on Mr. Goodbars. Don't tell the wife. She'll be mad at me. Let's get to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. When we've done here, we'll talk about the elections happening all across the country. And, of course, we'll talk about Mamdani in New York. Let's go to Everett in East Hartford. Hello, sir.
Hello. Yeah, I just got finished voting today. So I'm going to remind everybody, go vote.
Yes, please.
Until 8 o'clock. So show up. And remember, always never a Democrat. Anybody but a Democrat.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. How you been, Everett? I haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah, no, I've tried to get in a couple times, but just timing just never worked out.
Not a problem, sir. I appreciate you here. What's going on with you?
So, hey, I'll give you a tip. Driving here in Connecticut, those dark roads at night.
Yes, from yesterday's show, I was talking about all the high beams in my face.
Watch the right-hand side of the road. Dart your eyes to the right front-hand corner and watch that line. Because if you look to that side, you're not going to be as blinded, and you'll be able to keep track of where you are on the road and not have to worry about going off the road into the ditch.
Just now, you're 100% right on that. You know what I'm concerned about? When I first learned to drive, I had what was referred to as tunnel vision. It was one of the biggest problems I had, probably because I was nervous. Well, I can honestly say it was because I was nervous. If a lot of you might remember this, but when you first learn to drive, someone is always trying to tell you have to look at all the mirrors, right? Make sure you look at your rear view mirror, your left and your right. Just periodically look in those directions. Of course, look at them when you're merging or if you're turning, but always sort of keep like a clock of checking out those mirrors to make sure that you are defensive driving. Somebody may be speeding up on you. Somebody maybe isn't stepping on the brakes so you can see what they're doing. Maybe somebody on the right is veering towards you or merging towards you. So sort of keep an eye on that. My biggest problem was tunnel vision. I was afraid to look away from the front, like the windshield. I would like dart to the left, dart to the right, because I was so afraid to keep my eyes off the road. So that's the one thing I'm concerned about is if I'm driving at night, I get fixated on that one side because I'm looking for either deer or some rodent or something that comes out, and I forget what I'm doing. That's why my concern is.
Yeah, no, when I'm driving, I get my head's always moving. I'm looking in my mirrors, all my mirrors, check as who's coming up behind me. I'm looking as far as my vision can see up ahead. Not like from the nose of my car to as far as I can see. And I'm watching all that traffic. Something happens 2-3 cars ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm watching 2 or 3 cars behind me. I'm watching 3 or 4 cars ahead of me.
Yeah.
People are nuts. You have to be on guard every minute you're driving.
Yeah, I know. It's like I can control the fool behind my wheel. I can't control every other fool. I got to keep that in mind every time.
You got to watch out for the nut behind the wheel, as they say.
That's right. Thank you, Eric, man. Good to hear from you. Let's go to Dave in Windsor. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Reese. How you doing?
I'm all right, sir. What's up?
Well, listen, you're talking about human trafficking, and the punishment they can give those people can never be severe enough.
Right.
But I got a comment here about Laura O'Donnell's interview with Trump. And his pardoning of this guy, Zayo, this crypto guy.
Okay.
Well, this guy went to, first of all, Trump said he didn't know who he was, which I got a hard time believing that.
You doubt that, sure.
Most of the stuff he says. And on top of that, this guy was laundering money with crypto for not only drug traffickers, but human traffickers, to make matters worse. So, nobody seems to be upset about this. I don't hear the MAGA people going nuts about this. Nobody's saying anything. It's like, oh, I don't know the guy. Johnson goes, oh, I haven't heard about this. Really? And it's kind of ironic that this guy got pardoned following his promotion of Trump's cryptocurrency.
So you believe that there's a conflict of interest in that pardon?
I believe there's a conflict. First of all, the guy should never have been pardoned. The guy should have been in jail for more.
We've had some questionable.
It disgusts me the double standards that exist, but they've existed forever.
Right.
I just want to point it out.
I hear you.
Outrage.
I don't
hear the outrage.
I know, but I'll go this far. As far as the outrage goes, it hasn't gone untested. That much I will tell you. People have been a little squirmish or squeamy about that particular pardon, but it's funny because the people who I would expect to be screaming about it aren't. Which I'll give you a perfect example. Who's the one person on the Democrat side who's the loudest voice, who's always in front of every camera, berating every decision by the Trump administration or Trump himself? Who's the one guy?
Well, I'm sure you're going to say Murphy.
That's right. Notice he said nothing about it?
You know what? I don't know. He probably not.
No.
I haven't heard him say anything about it.
Exactly, which I find incredibly odd.
Well, I find it odd that a lot of people aren't saying anything about it. Not only him.
I hear you.
And I have to tell you, I don't know if you watch Bill Maher or not.
I do sometimes.
But Marjorie Taylor Greene, seems to have the most sense out of anybody in the Republican Party right now.
Well, that is saying a mouthful.
I'm saying that, but what? Pardon me?
That is saying a mouthful.
You better believe it, especially coming from me.
So,
it's a mouthful. I never thought I would ever say it. She's making more sense. She's making more sense than the rest of the Republican Party, who just kowtows to Trump.
That's an interesting point of view, but you know what? I know that she was on The View yesterday. I'm going to have a little dissertation on the Marjorie Taylor Greene issue as of late, because I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I usually don't respond like I don't knee-jerk, but it's an interesting point that you brought up, because I know she was on The View. I haven't seen the whole interview, but I'm going to watch it because I watched the Bill Maher one. I'm going to see what direction this is going in, and then I'll opine about it tomorrow.
Well, I think the direction it's going in is the direction she should be going in, which is protecting her constituents and being in Washington in their best interest. That's the direction it's going in. That's what I'm getting at.
If that was a winning argument, that would be, but I think that there's something that people are missing, and maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene is missing, because I'll put it to you this way. There should not be a television campaign for what she's doing. And there is, and that I consider that suspect.
There's a television campaign for everything. So,
okay,
you can take that with a grain of salt.
I hear that.
But anyway, hey, you have a good evening.
Thank you, man. You too. Fred is in Middletown. How are we, sir?
Hey, I'm good. Just the quickest of segues. Gil Scott-Heron was wrong. The revolution has been televised. So, yeah.
And sponsored by Pepsi.
Yeah, the fact that it's on TV. He's quite. I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. I loved her when she was Trump's attack dog. I wrote a poem about her.
So do I. So did I.
Mm-hmm. So just a quick shot. I heard Mark, and I want to drop a quick. Say his name, Cornell Lewis. Right? In other words, this is what's going on, that this guy's like blowing smoke because he's walking around with a gun doing absolutely nothing. Okay? So just that, you know.
I hear you. I always find it interesting that when it's out of season, these guys are out of sight.
Nice. Yeah.
But we'll be actually meeting a bunch of those guys in the coming weeks. Like I said, I'm going to do a very broad inventory of all of these civil rights organizations. And we're going to make them come to the table, and we're going to actually have them do some things that are for the good of the folks and stop grandstanding. Because all of that stuff is nonsense. I'm sick and tired of you guys getting ink and getting no play, like doing nothing but getting all the ink. I'm done with that. So,
yeah, when all's said and done, there's a lot more said than done.
That's right.
And they finally let Dick Cheney into hell. And
was he trying to get in and they were refusing him?
Yeah, they didn't want him. That's why he was here so long. And just a quick shot. You know I love White Mike.
White Mike, yes.
But him calling Pastor Dell cowardly on that was just wrong.
It was, no, listen, and that was the reason why I got on this case. Because saying that Pastor Dell can't walk and chew gum, it was a conversation about Halloween. Like, we weren't having a conversation about the Nigerian issue. And what's Pastor Dell going to do about that?
That's right. Bang. And not only that, like Pastor Dell's whole congregation may have been listening. The people who keep him in the game doing his good work.
That's right.
Walking in faith, and they might not have wanted to hear about it. So he doesn't work for White Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, man.
All right.
I got you. Let's go to John. He's in Hartford. How are you, sir?
How are you?
I'm good. What's up?
Oh, it's John. I'm so stunned you knew my name. I apologize.
That's okay.
John Lyons, I'm running for town council in West Hartford, and I just got to ask you a favor, Reese. Enjoy your work. Just want you to help drive that vote. We got 3 more hours of voting, and we need West Hartford to turn out. We need the West Hartford Republicans to turn out and vote row B. I know I can count on you to do it, and I just want to give you a call. And also, if you have any questions for me, fire
Well,
away.
I'm going
happy
to say
answer.
that, look, I've been touting it since the beginning of the show. I told everyone this is not an opportunity to shrug your shoulders and say, what for or why should I? You got to get in the game. And my opening monologue, the headline was, learn from your loss, don't learn to lose. And in order to learn from your loss, you got to get in the game and then find out, one, what you need to do the next time around. But getting yourself involved. I told everybody at the beginning of the show, get out of your house. If you haven't voted, get out and do it. I don't care. Get out and do it. Don't just leave everything by chance or say what's my vote going to count. Your vote matters. This is the opportunity for you to throw a Hail Mary. This is an opportunity for you to throw the wild pitch, if you will. You've got to go out there and you got to do it. So thank you for calling.
Absolutely.
And absolutely. Let's turn. The only way we turn the town red is by trying to turn the town red. It's not going to happen on its own.
We need to turn out. We need to turn out. Thank you, Reese.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye. Yes, and he is 100% right. You got to get out there and vote. You got to do it. You just got to do it. Don't sit idly by. And if you're worried about missing the show, just go to WTIC.com right now and click on there and just listen to me in your earbuds while you stand online. Just do that. Hey, do I have time to do this? Let me do this because we can. And then we'll get into all the election stuff and the sound bites because we got so distracted by tattoos. It's too much. I laugh sometimes. So if you're watching online, as many of you do, and thank you so much. If I haven't applauded you, let me applaud you now. Thank you guys for showing the program online so much love. But if you do watch the show online, what I'd like to do is to offer this. So I'm wearing a T-shirt from A.C. Peterson, which is one of the oldest ice cream shops around. And I loved their T-shirt the minute that I saw it, and I asked them if I could get one, and they said, no, you have to work here. And I said, that is unacceptable. And sure enough, the folks there got me a shirt. I wear a large, by the way, a large. So if you've got a company and you've got a T-shirt that promotes it, give it to me locally. I want to wear your T-shirt. It's a fabric of the show. The online show, for those of you who are listening in Radio Land, the online show has a couple of elements that are cool. It's aside from seeing me, you get to see the T-shirts that I'm wearing. And the T-shirts usually have a message on it. Maybe one day it'll say freedom. Another time it'll say the Alamo. Another time it says, get rich or die trying. It doesn't matter. Whatever the stuff, don't tread on me. It's always something that I sort of appreciate or I support. And I support local businesses. As a local businessman myself, owning my own business, I know what it's like to own a business. So if you know somebody who owns a small business and has a T-shirt, in the honor of their business, I wear a large. And get them to me. Send them to the station or get in touch with me at reeseontheradio.com. I'll even come by and get a shirt if you have one. I want to wear it on the program and I want to wear it online. So, just like A.C. Peterson here, who jumped at the chance, yeah, get him a shirt. What are you doing? You get me a shirt as well. I wear a size large. And you know what? I'll do one better. Roland, what size do you wear? What size T-shirt do you wear? Okay, so if you can get Roland the rapper size T-shirt, 2X, that guy, I weigh more than him and I'm taller than him. And he needs a 2X T-shirt because for some odd reason, Roland has a rap video to shoot. Come on, does it have to be 2X? That's too big.
I got the guns, man.
Yeah.
Ladies love the guns, man. I'm in the gym, man.
Fine. If you have a 2X for Roland, send that as well. Go to reeseontheradio.com or send one right here to the station in Farmington. Again, send us a shirt. Mark Christopher, he's got traffic, and it's busy out there on Election Day. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I know that I haven't had any real Hollywood news for you guys in the last couple of days. It's just that, it's when it isn't there, it isn't there. I'm not going to force it. We'll do Hollywood news when it is appropriate. In the wintertime, movie news is just so lame. It's just so lame. So those of you who are wondering about it, it's just like, what are you going to do Hollywood news? You haven't done it in a while. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten. It's just that I don't want to bore you with stuff that even I don't find interesting. We will, however, get into the elections that are happening. I want to talk about a couple of things with the election. Zohran Mamdani, and now things getting down to the wire and why that's important. There's a report out there that says that Donald Trump's endorsement of Andrew Cuomo may very well be the kiss of death for New York City. That in Trump endorsing Cuomo will make New Yorkers seethe and only run to Mamdani anyway. Or, for that matter, Curtis Sliwa. There are other people who are asking, why didn't he endorse Curtis Sliwa? I've got a theory. As to why. And I think Donald Trump is thinking like I am. I think Donald Trump is playing 5D chess on this one. I really do believe it. I think that Donald Trump is begging for New Yorkers to get what they asked for. I'm not going to listen. I'll say this real quick before we get to weather and traffic, because you guys need that traffic report. It's windy outside and everything's closed, so I'm going to get that to you in a second. I want you to look at about this. Imagine losing a popularity contest in your own home. What would you do if that city embraced someone who was absolutely the antithesis of who you are? If they overwhelmingly supported that person, would you not want them to know and see the error of their ways? I would. I definitely would. We'll explain. Stand by. Plus, we'll take your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC. Mark Christopher, he's got all of the latest traffic for you to get home in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, I mean, this election season is great. It's sort of like, it's a test run, if you will. Everything always ends up being a referendum on President Trump. I know the drill. Oh, is there new information on Mimi's murder? Yeah, I'm looking at Connecticut, NBC Connecticut, see if there's anything I could check out online on that. Anyway, but back to my point. Mamdani is the most important race. It's the one everyone's talking about. New Jersey, yes, kind of a big deal because, is it possible that this state could go into the hands of a Republican? Yes, it's quite possible. Many people are talking about the fact that Chris Christie was not consulted by the Ciatarelli campaign or Ciatarelli campaign because he, managed to run New Jersey as a Republican. And then, of course, destroyed his career by hugging Barack Obama during Hurricane Sandy. Hey, you know the drill. The Virginia case, many people are saying that Donald Trump didn't come outright and support Winsome Sears, but he did support Jason Miyares, who is the Cuban Attorney General of the state. But he says he likes Winsome Sears, but he didn't really go like a full-throated endorsement, whatever that means. That's been interesting. Barack Obama was on the stump for Abigail Spamberger in Virginia and for Mikie Sherill in New Jersey. And many people ask the question, why wasn't Donald Trump out there for those races? I don't think he's supposed to be, in the sense of, not that it's illegal, but I don't think that he's supposed to be. I don't think he's supposed to be there for those kinds of races. I think those are, you say you give your endorsement from afar because you've got other stuff to do. It's usually unheard of, like unless you're desperate. And I don't think he's desperate for either of those races. But to get to the Mamdani thing, and endorsing Cuomo, but not Sliwa. One, I do believe that Trump has it on good sense to not endorse Sliwa because he's got no real shot. There are no numbers that help him. Many people have suggested that Sliwa shouldn't get out and Cuomo should, so that Sliwa and Mamdani can go at it one-on-one. I think that's misguided. And I don't say that to be disrespectful to the people who believe that. Fred in Middletown is one of the guys who really, he says, Cuomo's got to go. Give Sliwa a real shot. Sliwa had his real shot. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. He ran against Eric Adams, guys. Did you forget that? And Eric Adams is, again, an unproven politician. Why did Eric Adams win? Why did Eric Adams win every borough except Staten Island? Why didn't Curtis Sliwa at least fight Eric Adams? Did he really have... Come on, guys. It's Eric Adams. Was he a political powerhouse? No, he wasn't. In order for him to be remotely considered, he had to be in a three-way race with Andrew Cuomo. I believe that the outcome, if Cuomo would have never run as an independent, and it was between Mamdani and Sliwa would be a non-starter. We wouldn't even be talking about him. Mamdani would be on the stage unopposed. Come on, let's be honest. Sorry, guys. I have nothing personal against Curtis Sliwa. I don't believe he's a politician. He can run for borough president of Staten Island, but he's got no shot at being mayor. This is a pipe dream. The only thing this does for Curtis Sliwa is raise his popularity and his notoriety. That's it. Two-time candidate. He's an also-ran. Sorry. But Donald Trump endorsing Cuomo. And now people saying that Cuomo's got a fighting chance. Don't believe the hype. Donald Trump is doing exactly what he's supposed to do here. He's teaching lessons. Cuomo and Donald Trump don't get along. They hate each other. Donald Trump knows that throwing his endorsement to Andrew Cuomo and saying, hey, you got to vote for him, otherwise the country, the city's just going to turn into a communist city. Donald Trump knows exactly what he's doing. He's cooking up stew. He knows he's going to enrage New Yorkers and say, Donald Trump is supporting Andrew Cuomo. Get away. All he did was wrap kryptonite right around Andrew Cuomo. And now they're going to run towards Mamdani. And Donald Trump wants him there. Donald Trump wants him to be the mayor of New York. Donald Trump has to make a case in a year that the Democrat Party is as far less left as it could possibly go. That it is indeed a socialist, if not communist party. And the only way the American people are going to see it in real time is if the financial capital of the country, if not the world, has a socialist, maybe communist, running it. And watch him fumble the bag, as the kids say. They have to see it to believe it. Even those who really believe in the ideas of Mamdani, even if they believe that these things, that these pipe dreams are possible, they must have it. Donald Trump, you must see it. I can't convince them. Donald Trump can say, I can say it till their ears bleed. They're never going to listen to me. So how can I convince them? Give them what they want. How many times has your mom done it to you? How many times has your dad done it to you? Hey, boy, stop jumping on that bed. Stop. Okay, I'm not going to say it anymore. Go ahead, keep jumping. Ow! Did I tell you stop? Yes. That's all this is. Come on, let's be honest. I'm sorry. I've got to put this in the most simple terms I possibly can. These people are children in New York. Infants, I tell you. Toddlers. They're not going to listen to anybody. They hate the way the world, they're hating. They're hating the game and they're hating the players. That's what they're doing. And they're acting out like children do. We don't want to play your way. We're going to do it ourselves. We're going to do it our way, and our way's going to work. You watch. And after a while, you have to be a grown-up. Okay, silly. Go ahead. You think you could do this better than the adults? Go right ahead. And when they burn themselves and they tear it up and it looks like a mess, they'll come home. Mom, help me. Dad. They'll sheepishly come back. We didn't know what we were doing. Can we go back to your old way again? Can we try it again? I'm sorry. Waiting for it. But you got it. And I know that people say, like, Reese, like, we can't mess with New York like that. Don't worry. Don't worry. This guy's going to run that city with training wheels. He is not going to be given a 10-speed on this. He's going to get there. He's going to realize, holy crap, governing is hard. It looks great on TikTok and Instagram. But when he's got to sit down and when he's got people calling him and screaming at him, and he's got to deal with threat assessments and problems and issues and complaints and people shouting at him going, Mom Donnie, yo, what are you doing, yo? I thought you said you were going to handle this. Yo, it was supposed to be better. There's dirt everywhere. There's crime everywhere. People are dying in the streets. People are protesting. They're striking. I can't get basic services. Yo, where's the grocery stores? When he starts failing in everything, and I'm to be honest with you, if I were to have my dream, you know what I would hope for? That Mom Donnie would go stomping off like a petulant child. Stomping off, saying, I don't want to do this anymore, man. It's hard. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going back to Uganda. It was safe. I don't want to do this. You guys don't respect me. And he'll go home. He'll take his ball and go home. And he'll realize that governing is hard. You know, it isn't making a rap song. There are real lives at stake. There's real governing. There's real negotiations. That you have to stop telling people stupid things like, I'm going to make a government grocery store to bring down prices. When people start dying on his watch, because that's a real thing, folks. Ask Andrew Cuomo. When people start dying on your watch, if you're not ready for that, you'll crumble. And Mom Donnie will crumble. And I know people are saying, it's like, why would you, why would you ever risk that? I don't have the power. Donald said it in the chat room the other day. He says, Reese, you don't have any power to tell New Yorkers what to do. You're damn right. And I've never once told them. I said, the only thing I said, what did I say, Donald? I'll tell you what I said. I said, please, do it. Do it. Elect him. I was the only one. Everybody else was on the conservative side. Everybody on MAGA side. Everybody's going, no, we can't let that happen. No, me. Do it. You got to elect this guy. I understand what that's all about. Those of you who want to see him succeed, God bless you. Those of you who don't want him to succeed because you're worried about how much of a failure it's going to be, how else do you expect to convince them? You can't keep giving them the idea that they could possibly have this utopia and then never allow them to actually live it. They must. In order for these children to learn, they must exist in the world they think is so, prosperous. They think is so real. They think that they can manage. You must give these children what they want. And when they fail at it, when they realize it, yeah, they're going to get angry. Sure, they're going to realize that we didn't know what we were doing. That's why it's got to happen. Let me take my good friend, Dr. Steve, in the house. What's going on, Doc?
Hey, Reese. It's been a long time. Been a busy couple weeks. So I just voted, and it just got me thinking about 4 or 5 years ago, and a question or a topic that I don't think you and I had talked about, and so I'll ask you point blank, do you think that the Trump election was rigged in 2020, or the Trump election? Do you think the election was rigged in 2020?
Yes.
Give me your explanation. Help me to understand why you believe that.
Okay. Where did 16 million votes go in 2024? That's one.
Flesh that out for me.
Okay, I'll put it to you this way. So Barack Hussein Obama beats John McCain, right? And then he beats Mitt Romney, right? Then Donald Trump becomes president in 2016. Right? He wins with 63 million vote versus Hillary Clinton's 65 million votes. The next election comes out. Donald Trump gets 75 million votes. Again, from 63, we're talking about a president who was under duress his 4 years, gains almost 13 million votes. But Joe Biden gets more votes than that of Barack Hussein Obama and more black votes than Barack Hussein Obama, the same guy who's responsible for the crime bill of 1994. Absolutely unorthodox. It's completely insane. But this is the one thing that makes me very, very curious about that election, and that's this. We were told that this was the existential threat of our times, the most important election of our lifetime, the re-election of Donald J. Trump. And they knew that his momentum was growing. In fact, we know it was growing because, again, like I said, in 2016, 63 million. In 2020, he gets 75 million. So we obviously know that even with the duress that he had to endure in those 4 years, he gained more votes. So my question to you is this. If it's that important, you're going to tell me that nobody cheated at all?
Well, the question isn't whether or not a few hundred people cheated. The question is whether or not enough people cheated and there was enough evidence of fraud to overturn.
Well, we're finding that now.
Election.
We're finding that now, Doc. We're finding that in Georgia, in DeKalb County right now. We're finding hundreds of thousands of signatures that we cannot align with votes in DeKalb County alone.
From 2020?
Yeah. It hasn't been talked about in mainstream media because of the fact that they're fearful that it would actually interrupt or it would undo the integrity of that election. That's why it hasn't. But if you've been watching other media outlets, not that that's your job because you're not a wonk like me, yeah, there's a huge story about it happening in DeKalb, Georgia, all last year.
So, I mean, it's been 5 years since the election. There were innumerable lawsuits brought. The president, the Republican Party currently has the presidency, the House, the Supreme Court, and yet in 5 years, nothing has come to light to undermine.
That's not a definition. That in no way. I'm going to put it to you this way. And I'm going to go to the traffic, but in fact, I'm probably going to hold you over for this. But I want to put it to you this way. It's almost like arguing because it didn't. You know what? Hold on. I'm going to put you on hold. Let me put you on hold because we got so much stuff to talk about. Stand by real quick for me, buddy. How do I do this? I got to do that right there. Okay, we'll keep Dr. Steve on hold. Let's get another check for traffic and weather. Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app. Search WTIC News Talk 1080 and tap earlier today to get started.
We'll do what had happened was in a second. Let me get back to Dr. Steve real quick. He was asking a question about whether or not I believe the 2020 election was rigged. Look, this is the part that I think that many people can just surmise by the 2020 election versus the 2024 election. If you know that it is dire that Donald Trump not get reelected and Joe Biden, a guy who couldn't pull in 19,000 votes at the height of his popularity in 2008, 19,000. That was it in his primary debut. His primary debut against Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. He's out and becomes vice president. He becomes vice president. He has no signature legislation at all. He then runs in 2020. He gets 81 million votes. Again, Donald Trump runs again. And Kamala Harris, again running against the existential threat of Donald Trump, not only loses, but loses the popular vote? What happened to all of and oh, by the way, gets 73 million votes? She doesn't even get anywhere near what Joe Biden got. And an election that got Joe Biden, again, far more competent than Joe Biden. Kamala Harris doesn't get remotely close to what Joe Biden got?
I mean, I guess the things that you're invoking are sort of surprised at how many people showed up to vote during particular years, acknowledging there's so many different factors at play. I mean, there's COVID happening during one year. There's such frank disappointment and disillusionment across the Democratic Party in the transition from Biden to Kamala Harris, and a lot of people were completely.
But Trump is still Trump, Doc. Trump is still Trump, and he's still an existential threat. He's the same threat he was in 2020, according to Democrats.
Sure, I'm just saying that we can talk about how motivated people were to vote, but if we look at the actual process of the voting in 2020, and we look at there was a whole special grand jury in Georgia that unanimously concluded there was no widespread fraud in when they released that report in 2023. Mm-hmm. If you have so many investigations across the board happening and no evidence of significant fraud, when people that even Trump put in office, even his what's his name, his own attorney general, all said there was no evidence of fraud, at some point you have to say, you know what, the world is not flat.
Okay, no? Doc, then I'll ask you this, right?
Yeah, please.
Let's take everything you just said into consideration. And let's say that you're 100% accurate in all of it, and there's no other question, right? Where are we today when it comes to things that we called settled science, if you will, when it comes to political scandals? When we dig in deep, we find out there are things that have always been hidden from us. Certain investigations didn't turn out to be what they were. If I may, stay on hold. I'm going to throw you a curveball in all of this that shows what we are told isn't always what's the truth, and it's scary sometimes. I'm going to give you a small little example in a minute because it's a story I was going to get into later, but I'm going to give you an example. I don't trust anything, much less William Barr, when he says that there was no widespread. I have absolute no faith in William Barr when it comes to this, but I'm going to give you an example of it when we get back. So stand by. Hold on for me. We got more traffic to get into, and it's crazy out there. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. Let's get Dr. Steve back on here. So, Craig in the chat room has also brought up a good point. The term widespread fraud is a non-starter because that wasn't how this election was won. It's piecemeal. It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. A lot of these votes were separated by just thousands of votes. And the idea that, it was something that you could find sort of like, you would find a piece of evidence in a crime scene is much far reaching than that. But I want to throw something at you. And just because I just want to know, when the government tells you something, you're a skeptic, right, Dr. Steve? Sir? Hello? Doc?
I'm here.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah, I said when the government throws something at you, you are a skeptic, right?
I would say a lot of the time, but not all the time.
Not all the time. Okay, so you have okay, I'll put it to you this way. If you were to say that your faith in the government when they tell you something, what would you scale it at? 50%, 60%, 70%? Where would you scale it?
Fair. Yeah, I'd say 65%.
Okay. Okay, so 65% you believe in the government. Okay, fine. Let's take the news media, for instance, right? I'm going to go to Nora O'Donnell on 60 Minutes. She talked to the President of the United States this weekend, And in her conversation with the president, she asked the question that many people in the news media were talking about when it came to the arrest or the indictment of people like James Comey, Letitia James, and John Bolton.
James Comey, John Bolton, Letitia James were all recently indicted. There's a pattern to these names. They're all public figures who have publicly denounced you. Is it political retribution?
You know what? You know who got indicted? The man you're looking at. I got indicted, and I was innocent. And here I am because I was able to beat all of the nonsense that was thrown at me. And yet, when you go after a dirty cop like Comey, or a guy like Bolton, who I hear I don't know anything about it. I hear he took records all over the place. Who knows? Letitia James is a terrible, dishonest person, in my opinion.
Did you instruct the Department of Justice to go after
Not in any way, shape, or form. No, you don't have to instruct them because they were so dirty, they were so crooked, they were so corrupt that the honest people we have, Pam Bondi's doing a very good job. Kash Patel's doing a very good job. The honest people that we have, go after them automatically.
Now, that was, of course, Donald Trump saying that honest people have gone after real criminals, in his view. Now, I'm going to test your 65%, approval rating of the government when they tell you something is true. But if you went to the news media as it pertained to James Comey, they told you that what Donald Trump and what Pam Bondi or Kash Patel are doing to James Comey is retribution. And they will even go so far as to tell you that he's done nothing wrong. James Comey even went to court and said he had done nothing wrong. What he's being accused of is false. But he is not saying it today, Dr. Steve. You want to know why? Because of this report by John Solomon and Just the News.
We've been following the story of James Comey. He's indicted for lying to Congress, saying he never authorized any of his staff to leak to the media. And late last week, as we told you, he played the victim card. I'm being maliciously prosecuted because Donald Trump hates me. Well, today, the Kash Patel FBI and the lead attorney prosecuting his case, Lindsay Halligan, well, they responded, and they responded with a lot of evidence. What did they respond with? James Comey's own emails and his own handwritten notes. And what do they show? They show that James Comey was clearly aware that his top aide was providing information anonymously to the news media. Not only was he aware of it, he wrote in a private email, "Good job, my friend," actually congratulating him when Dan Richman, one of his top lieutenants, told him what he had just done with the New York Times. Yes, just like the indictment said, the story is about Hillary Clinton's email, so it backs up the government's case that Comey was authorizing leaks through his staff to reporters concerning a Hillary Clinton case, just like they argued. But they went a little bit further.
They went a little bit further, Dr. Steve. It gets crazier. But again, I never trust the government, and I damn sure don't trust the government when it comes to Donald Trump. And here's the scary part. Why did James Comey lie? Why did he leak all of that information to the news media to undermine the Trump administration? Oh, that part of the story, that's even better. Stand by.
Turns out that when Kash Patel found those burn bags in that secret room where a whole bunch of FBI evidence was sitting, they found something special, some handwritten notes by James Comey. What do those handwritten notes show? He appeared to be aware in September 2016 that of the U.S. intelligence intercept that Hillary Clinton had approved a plan to hang a fake Russian shingle on Donald Trump's house, campaign house. Now, that's important because the handwritten notes don't match with James Comey's testimony. James Comey told Congress, that doesn't sound familiar. I don't think I ever knew about that. He wrote about it in his hand notes. And finally, one will ask, well, why would James Comey do this? What was the motive? Today's emails that were just released in the court filing give us one other answer. He wrote to Dan Richman, his lieutenant, that he fully expected soon to be working for President-elect Hillary Clinton. That's right from the emails. So he was waiting to work for Hillary Clinton, and he thought that Hillary Clinton would be grateful for the way he did things in handling her email case. Uh-oh.
Now, I'll ask you again, Dr. Steve, do you think that they're capable of cheating? Hold on, I'm losing you. I don't want to lose your answer.
I'm here.
Okay.
As you know, I didn't call to defend.
No, I don't want you to do that. I just want you asked me a question, so I'm asking it back to you. You asked me, do I think they cheated? Now I'm giving you evidence that they were cheating in 2016, and I'm telling you they cheated in 2020. You asked me if they cheated in 2020. I'm giving you evidence from 2016 that James Comey, the current FBI director, was assisting Hillary Clinton in cheating in September of the 2016 campaign to hang Russian collusion on Donald Trump so he can lose. And you asked me do I think they cheated? I have my evidence there. That's why I believe it.
I 100% believe that cheating occurs on both sides.
Come on, Doc.
No, Reese, you got to let me finish.
All right.
I 100% believe that people are culpable on both sides. My argument is that we had a free and fair election, and Donald Trump was incapable of accepting that. And in 5 years, there's been no legitimate evidence to suggest widespread fraud.
That isn't enough
from a single party.
But again, what I'm arguing here, Dr. Steve, wait. What I'm arguing here is that I don't trust the people who have been investigating it. What I'm saying here is, again,
many of them were Trump appointees.
No.
Many of them are Republicans.
That doesn't mean anything. That means nothing. That means
You're saying that Republican-appointed committees in every state that investigated the election and found that it was perfectly a valid election with high integrity?
Sir, you're using buzzwords. You're saying perfectly. You're saying, first of all, you're throwing a lot of weight about things that are investigated that we don't know to be true yet. You're just accepting them as fact, Doctor. You're accepting them as fact, and that's cool. That's okay. But you asked me a legitimate question. I'm answering it legitimately. Yeah. You're asking, do I believe that it was rigged? I'm telling you that there is hardcore evidence that people knew that Donald Trump had momentum to win, and they were throwing dirt in the game, and they were trying to handicap him. And we know that it was being done inside the White House. We know that it was being done inside the Department of Justice, and we have evidence to back it up. And people are being charged for it. And just because 5 years we didn't find anything doesn't mean that investigation is over. If we get hardcore evidence, in fact, I'm willing to bet you right now, Dr. Steve, that in the coming years, and I'll even give it a year, that we will find out evidence that indeed it was rigged. And you'll be coming here to say, hey, you know what? You got me dead to rights.
I look forward to that conversation.
Not a problem. And I love you for calling, man. I missed you. You got it, man. Let's go to Chris in West Hartford. I haven't heard from him. What's going on, sir?
Hey, Reese. How's it going?
What's up, man?
Okay. You've got it right. It's 100%. They cheated their butts off in 2020. I mean, there's video evidence that was on YouTube for about 4 days until they took it down. But there's video from a vote counting center in, I think it was Cobb County, of Democrats coming in late at night, and how they determined they were Democrats because one of the women had long blonde dreadlocks.
Yes, she was.
We know exactly who she is. And they came in and they lifted up these black things that were covering these tables.
They were underneath the tables. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. They pulled out the suitcases, and they went over, and there were 4 Democrats, 4 suitcases, 4 voting machines right over on the shelf in the back room. What they didn't realize when they went into the back room, the lights went on automatically. And they didn't realize there was a security camera in the back room. And that filmed the whole thing.
And that was at the stadium. That's absolutely correct. That's the only reason why we got it, because it was inside the stadium. And those cameras aren't controlled by any of the staffers there.
That's right.
That's the reason why we found out. And look, like I said, I know that the investigation is going to be fruitful because, look, the investigation is ongoing. This is not something that if I know Kash Patel, if I know Pam Bondi, it's not going to be enough to say that we have suspicion that something went wrong. They are going to have to come with hardcore, irrefutable evidence. And that's why this James Comey thing that I played was important. Because when you got the guy's own handwriting, you can't say anything about that.
Yeah. And you got John Solomon, who is an incredibly good investigator. He's like Hannity's.
He's Hannity's go-to guy. Yes, I love John Solomon. He's one of my favorite journalists, favorite investigative reporters out there. That's why I always go to him. He's one of my sources.
Yep, justthenews.com. I think that's his site.
Yep, that's exactly right. Thank you, sir. Much appreciate you.
Thank you, Reese.
You got it. Jeff is in Marlboro. He's my last but not least. What's going on, Jeff?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, man?
Hey, and I hope we can still stay buddies after this call, but I gotta ask you one of two questions, and you can choose the question, okay?
Okay.
One question about Sliwa or one question about you?
Okay, both of them are going to be was going to ruin our friendship?
No, I hope not.
Okay, I don't know which one is more important to you.
We're reasonable people. The second one, the one about you.
Okay, what's the question?
Okay, so let's just say, I got to start with like a what if. A man goes to Congress. A man, elected to Congress. He goes, he takes, say he takes $100,000 whatever, bribe, and he goes, I can give jobs to my community. I can give jobs to people I know. I can help out my town, whatever.
Right.
It's fine. Now, this may sound petty, okay?
Okay.
This T-shirt you keep talking about.
Which T-shirt?
I believe it's from an ice cream place.
Oh, yeah. I asked them to save me a T-shirt because I love the way it looks.
But you asked them to break the rules and make a special exception for you.
Fair. I didn't ask them to break the rules. I said, how can I get a T-shirt? I was actually going to buy it. And they were like, no, it's only for employees. And I went, oh, he said, I'll give you an application.
Exactly. And then you also mentioned their name on the air.
Yeah, everybody knows them. Everybody knows who they are.
Okay, but they don't give everybody a free T-shirt. Maybe Reese. But...
Well, I was giving them props because they were kind enough to call me and say, hey, come on by. We have a T-shirt for you. Are you asking me an integrity question?
Yes, because you're a man of honor. I like your word. I love listening to you.
Of course you do.
And it seems outside the box for you.
No. To be honest with you, I saw the shirt, and if you've ever watched this program, I don't even know if you watch it online. T-shirts are a huge part of what it is. I'm a big T-shirt fan. So that's why I said to anybody who has a T-shirt that's on, with their company that are cool, let me know. I love wearing T-shirts. That's just my thing. But it has nothing to do with, like personal favors. I didn't get a free ice cream. I went to the store, and we shared a apple pie with ice cream yesterday. But we buy. We don't go there and get anything for free.
I know. It just seemed outside the box for you. And you always say, you want everybody to be in line. And I don't know. It seemed a little outside the box for you.
Well, no. Hey, I appreciate the question. If you had an inquiry, I don't take any offense to it. I can defend it. Because if I had something to hide, then it would be something different. But I appreciate the question.
Well, I don't think you're getting $5 million in free ice.
That would be way too much, and my wife would definitely oppose. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you, man. As I always say, radio was free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. Mark Christopher is getting you home. Traffic is crazy out there. Mark, what do you got?